For being here. We know this is an incredibly difficult and scary time, frankly, for the city of Portsmouth, and it seems like the community is under siege in Portsmouth. Why is this happening, and how do you fix it?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me this morning. And I want to, before we begin, to send condolences out to the families who have lost loved ones. In addition, I want to reassure the citizens of Portsmouth that our team, our interim city manager and our chief of police, are doing everything within their power and their resources to make sure that our citizens are safe. So why is this happening? I think there are a number of reasons why it's happening. As you have heard throughout the country, guns are accessible very easily, and people are making bad choices. And so what we have to do as leaders, we have to bring those resources together to make sure that we are responding to those bad choices. And that's exactly what we're doing right now.
Is this gang violence that we're talking about specifically in Portsmouth? Because we're talking about 15 people shot in a week.
So as you saw yesterday with the press conference, the chief did indicate certain incidents that have occurred. Some of those are gang related. The majority, however, were not. So I think it's a combination of things. It's a combination of people not having the ability to resolve issues. It's a combination of perhaps gang violence. And once again, as I said, individuals continuing to make bad choices and do the wrong things.
We heard from the chief also at his news conference yesterday speak to the larger Portsmouth community, saying this is not just a problem for police officers or for elected officials, but these are problems that are deeply rooted in our communities that neighbors need to take action on as well.
Absolutely. Gun violence anywhere is unacceptable. And most importantly, in the city of Portsmouth, we have seen our share of it in the last week or so. We all must work together. This is a shared responsibility. Citizens, police, all of those in the city of Portsmouth have a responsibility. If you see something, please say something. We can only do so much as law enforcement, but if we don't know where those individual perpetrators are, then how are we to stop the actions or activities that they may participate in? And I'm committed, as well as our city council and our leadership team, to healing our city quickly and as most efficiently as possible.
And we're talking about law enforcement. Obviously, when this happens, the immediate look is to law enforcement, to the mayor of the city for leadership. Is police officer burnout and a lack of having the correct staffing numbers a part of the problem, a part of the image that people that would commit violence think they can get away with it?
Perhaps, but I can tell you, we met with the Secretary of Public Safety, Mr. Mosier, last week on May the 26th in the city of Portsmouth. And when they came to see us, they acknowledged that we were doing some good things in the city of Portsmouth to reduce gun violence. And they offered their support, and I encouraged them to provide additional support, whether that be the state police and other resources, to help us combat this gun violence. But the truth of the matter is, it's all of what you indicated, and we have to recognize that as a city, those officers, we have to support them in the job that they do. We can say that we don't have enough officers, and I think that's a challenge nationally, but at the end of the day, we must do the best job with the people that we have on the street. And that's where the community comes in, because we can't touch everybody. But if people bring information that is actionable, we can then take that action to get those folks off of the street.
I mean, is it time to call in the National Guard?
We had a conversation with the chief and the interim city manager. At this point, we are calling in all of the resources. As he indicated yesterday, the same question was posed. He did not believe that it was time to call in the National Guard, our chief of police.
Do you disagree with that?
I absolutely have full confidence in our chief of police and his staff to do the job of keeping our citizens safe.
I want to hear your thoughts as we wrap up. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here live this morning on News 3. You know, I spent a lot of time in the city of Portsmouth over the past week at the Memorial Day Parade. I was down at the Pride event over the weekend, and everybody you talk to, I'm a former Portsmouth resident myself. People want to feel safe in the communities where they live. They want to take pride in where they live. But at some point, you know, their hands are in their heads saying, when is this going to stop? What kind of hope can you give to the people waking up in Portsmouth and across the 7 cities, because we know crime does not know city borders. What kind of hope can you give people this morning that we're going to get through this?
Well, Blaine, I recently had a conversation with the mayor of St. Louis, Missouri, Tashara Jones, about this very issue of gun violence. And I shared, and she shared with me a video that her community put together. And it struck me when I watched that video because the issues of gun violence that St. Louis is dealing with, we're dealing with in Portsmouth. But what was mentioned by one of the mothers was, she said that St. Louis is worth saving. Portsmouth is worth saving. It is up to all of us to put our collective resources together and work together to heal our city. And I encourage everybody, this too shall pass, but we've got some difficult days ahead. And if we stay together and we continue to be that Portsmouth family that we are, we will get through this.
Mayor Shannon Glover from the city of Portsmouth, we thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you both.